between passports because some rules. Nobody tells you.
Hello, I'm Vinny, and welcome to Between Passports. I believe that when we travel, we don't just see new places, we see ourselves differently. This project is about the life that happens in transit, my life and your life. After living as an immigrant for many years and listening to so many incredible stories, I decided it was time to share them with the world. So grab your bags, let's head out to today's episode. Whether you're at home or in transit, you can follow our journey on all major platforms, from Spotify and Apple to YouTube and Amazon Music. We are also sharing daily moments on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for Between Passports to stay in the loop or visit betweenpassports.com. Thanks for being part of this trip, and see you around. Hey, welcome to Between Passports. I'm Vinny. I want to start this week with a single word. One word that a cousin said across a dinner table in Lagos, Nigeria, on the second night of a visit that had taken 4 years to happen. He looked at Emeka, 34 years old, 12 years in London, finally home, smiled and said, "The Londoner." Said with love, said with pride, said the way you introduce someone you want everyone to be impressed by. Emeka smiled back, said thank you, and sat with it for the rest of the night. This is Between Passports. I'm Vinny. This week, somebody went home and found out he had moved without them. Emeka, 34, from Lagos, moved to London at 22 on a student visa. Stayed, built a career in financial services, and at some point stopped counting the years and just started living them. 12 years, more than a third of his life. He is Nigerian everywhere in London. His name, his accent, warm and unmistakably West African, even after 12 years. He is never just a person in London. He is always also an immigrant. He made peace with that long ago. He hadn't been back to Lagos in 4 years, not for any dramatic reason. Work, life, a pandemic that swallowed 2 of those years. Last Christmas, he finally went. He expected jollof rice, his mother's voice, the specific light of a Lagos afternoon you cannot find anywhere else. He expected, above everything, to feel completely like himself again. He didn't expect to arrive home and find out Lagos had a different name for who he was now. The first thing he noticed was the city. Lagos did not wait for him. New developments where he remembered empty lots, roads reconfigured, his local spot, the suya man on the corner who had been there since Emeka was 14, was gone. He was just gone. Nobody could say exactly when. He walked around for days looking for the Lagos that lived in his memory. He found pieces of it, enough to recognize, not enough to settle into. The second thing he noticed was himself. At dinner, the first night, his aunt asked him to pass the pepper soup. He said, "Of course, here you go." Nobody reacted. But he heard it. The flattened vowels, the British cadence baked into a sentence that should have sounded like Lagos. His accent, the one he had spent 12 years making sure wasn't too Nigerian in London, had come home and wasn't Nigerian enough. His younger brother, 22, never left Nigeria, said it plainly. "Guy, your accent has gone no." Not mean, not unkind, just factual. A thing that had happened while nobody was watching. 12 years, being too Nigerian for London, he came home and he wasn't Nigerian enough for Lagos. Which version of his voice was the real one? 4 years is not a long time, until it is. His childhood barber had retired. His best friend from secondary school had two children now, whose names Emeka kept mixing up. His mother had a new chair in the sitting room, where his father's chair used to be. She didn't mention it. He didn't ask. None of it was designed to hurt. That is the specific nature of a gap. It fills up quietly while you are somewhere else. And when you come back, there's no one to apologize for it because nobody did anything wrong. Emeka had prepared for it in the abstract on the flight over. It is one thing to know a gap exists. It is another thing to stand in it. Now, I want to ask you something here. If you ever gone back somewhere after a long time away, what was the thing you didn't expect to find changed? Not the big things, the small ones. The suya man on the corner, the chair in a different place. Let me know, drop it below. On the second evening, there was a proper family gathering. Food that took 2 days to prepare, the specific, loud, joyful chaos of a Lagos family dinner that Emeka had been dreaming about for 4 years. The jollof rice, the argument about the jollof rice, his cousin Tunde, the funniest person in any room, running the table like a TV presenter. And then Tunde looked at him across the table, smiled, and said it. The Londoner has arrived, oh. Everyone laughed, warmly, because Tunde was proud of him. In his framing, the Londoner was almost an honor. Look what Emeka built. He went to London. He stayed. He made something of himself. Emeka laughed too. He meant it. But something in it landed anyway, because Tunde was right. Something had shifted far enough that the people who knew him before he left could see it before he had fully named it himself. He was the Londoner in Lagos, and in London he was always Nigerian. He did not fully belong anywhere, and for the first time he had to sit with what that meant. He excused himself after dinner, went outside, stood in the compound where he used to play football at 10 years old. Just stood there.
Enjoying this story? Follow us so you don't miss the next one.
As you know, I like to chat with people who share their stories with me, so I can share these stories here on Between Passports. And I was chatting with Emeka, and I asked him about any moment during his trip in Lagos that he was thinking about the whole situation. He was quiet for a moment, the quiet of someone being precise rather than evasive. He said something like, I realized I don't fully belong anywhere. I'm too Nigerian for London, always the immigrant, always slightly outside the room. And I'm not Nigerian enough for Lagos anymore. And the strange thing is, I don't think I fully belonged before I left either. I think I just didn't know it yet. And I want to call attention to this sentence again. I don't think I fully belonged before I left either. I just didn't know it yet. Because belonging, when you have it, is invisible. You move through your life without the friction of not fitting. It's only when the belonging gets complicated that you realize it was there all along. On his last morning, his mother made him something for breakfast and said something he has been carrying ever since. On his last day, Emeka's mother made him oji for breakfast, the specific kind he had eaten every day until he was 18, and then not once in the last 12 years. She put it in front of him without commenting on it, the way mothers do when they know something matters but don't want to make it into a thing. He asked her whether she thought he had changed. She looked at him the way she used to when he was a child and had asked something she thought he already knew the answer to. She said, "You have changed, but you are still the same person who changed. This is not a problem. This is just life." He didn't say anything. She went back to the kitchen. Some people have the whole thing figured out quietly before you even know there's a thing to figure out. Usually, these are the moms.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
Well, here we go again. As you know, I always check my old sociology books and do some online digging for this. And what happened to Emeka has a name, actually, several names. So there is the most common one, which is the reverse cultural shock, which is basically the disorientation of returning somewhere familiar and finding the familiarity no longer fits. You could also call it the third cultural identity, belonging fully to neither the country you are from nor the country you are in. You build a third thing, hybrid, yours, not fully legible to either side. Studies on long term immigrants who return home find the same pattern consistently. The grief is not for the place, which is still there, it is for the version of themselves that belonged to it. That version left, it changed, it cannot fully go back. Third culture identity is not a failure state. You are not a broken version of either nationality. You are a third thing, honestly yours, but harder to explain at a dinner table. Emeka is not lost. He is living somewhere that doesn't have a postcode yet. And here's the question I keep coming back to, the one I want you to sit with. Where is home? Not where you live, not where your passport is from, the place that feels like the exhale, the place where you stop performing and just are. Because Emeka went back to Lagos calling it home, and somewhere over the Sahara on the flight back to London, he realized he was going back home. Emeka is back in London. 6 months now. He calls his mother every Sunday. Longer calls than before the trip. She noticed it, mentioned it once. He said he had more to say. She said he remembered what he was calling about. He has stopped trying to resolve the question of where he belongs. Not because he gave up, because he thinks it was the wrong question. He told me, "I went home expecting to feel like myself again. Instead, I found out that myself is bigger than what I thought. It has a Lagos part and a London part, and some parts I don't have names for yet. The trip didn't close a gap. It just showed me the gap was mine. It belonged to me, not to Lagos and not to London." The Londoner said with love, said by someone who watched him leave and watched him come back, and was, in his way, telling Emeka something true. It just took a few months to hear it that way. Emeka, if you're listening, the gap belongs to you. That's not a problem. That is, as your mother said, just life. Well, if you have a story like this, a return, a homecoming that surprised you, a place that moved while you were away, I want to hear it. Between Passports is on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music, and many different aggregators. We share daily moments on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I'm Vinny. This is Between Passports, where we ask the question nobody wants to answer out loud. Do I hear an accent?
We are Between Passports. Glad you're here. Share your story at betweenpassports.com.